This video has no real structure, it's just me rambling about the movie. In 1974, an icon in the horror movie genre was born, with the release of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a deeply allegorical film about the meat industry and how we subject livestock to inhumane processes. In Leatherface's brutal acts, each strike of the hammer delivers a haunting, reminiscent of the industrial butchery that livestock endures. The character's Caesar-like reaction serves as a stark reminder of the pain and suffering often inflicted upon animals during their grim journey from farm to table. The nightmare intensifies as Leatherface hangs his victims on hooks, forcing them to bear witness to the spectacle of their friend's decapitation. This chilling scenario draws a parallel to the callous reality where animals are subjected to gruesome fates, just as these helpless victims find themselves at the mercy of Leatherface. Leatherface's mask and furniture crafted from human remains evoke a reflection on society's nonchalant acceptance of using animal parts as commonplace items. It prompts us to reconsider the detached relationship we often maintain with the origins of materials that surround us. Question the morality of incorporating limbs into mundane artifacts. The 1974 film is the most potent when it came to delivering this message across audiences. The movies that preceded the 1974 film gradually diluted the original subtext, and eventually, it started to mainly revolve around the gratuitous violence and the film's main antagonist, Leatherface. An obvious conclusion, as any media that begins with a political underlining will eventually be commodified and mass-produced, losing all inherent meaning and value. The most egregious example of stripping all meaning and context is the Netflix 2022 adaptation of Chainsaw Massacre. Throw away any significant meaning while just emphasizing the gore and unadulterated violence. Many people criticize the film, rightfully so, for completely selling out the original allegorical nuance and just creating a void of substance slasher film where the main antagonist can easily be exchanged for Jason Voorhees and would not impact the film at all. It is that empty. I completely agree with this sentiment. It is a symptom of an industry that is decaying and can't stop puppeting the shrouds of prior films' corpses and persists in Frankensteining it. On the other hand, I found this movie stupidly goofy and actually pretty entertaining. I could not help but laugh throughout this film, as a cast of the least likable characters get ripped apart. Atrocious writing and stupid ideas plague this film. However, funnily enough, I enjoyed my time watching this movie. Almost everyone in this film looked like a bunch of 15-year-olds. At first, I genuinely thought these were a bunch of runaway teenagers starting their own town for a new adult-free zone. Yay, no bedtime and pizza every day. Until a person who looks 18 is introduced as a representative of the bank.
Oh, no, it is perfect like this. These people want the word out. You know, the history?
Yeah. And I realized that they all just look 15, but aren't supposed to be 15. It was very hard to somewhat take this film seriously. During one scene, Melody, the older sister of Lila, plays protector and insists on his little sister staying put while she investigates a serious matter.
I'm coming with. Look, please, can you just do what I tell you? Why do I have to stay with these fucking people? Just stay.
Come on, let's go.
Kind of like how a parent would tell their child to play in their room while taking a serious call. I couldn't take it seriously at all. It looked like a 16-year-old trying to parent a 15-year-old. This is definitely just a personal issue, but I can't take it seriously when people who look like children try playing the roles of adults, even if they are adults. It is why I can't really handle most shonen animes, as they try to make us believe that this 16-year-old has some meaningful insight into life's greatest questions and troubles. When Dante stood up to Richard, it reminded me of a high schooler trying to stand up to their parent.
You sure that was your property? Huh? Looked like she disagreed.
Please just give us back the key.
Like literally, next to him, he really does look like a teenager telling his dad off. Like, come on dad, let me just play Mario Kart till 3 AM in the morning for once. It's a weekend. Please.
You are not to play Mario Kart or go skateboarding for 3 weeks. And no TV.
No.
I like Leatherface's portrayal in this film. It is definitely a different approach from the original way he was shown in the 1974 film. The 1974 Leatherface had a more butcher look to him, and also a cooler mask. I find it the most terrifying depiction of him throughout the entire franchise. Netflix Leatherface definitely leaned more into being an actual monster, as opposed to just a disfigured human. I kinda like it. I really do have a love for giant human beings just being an absolute unit and creating chaos, using their size to assert their dominance by just brute forcing their way through situations. None of this mind over muscle bullshit. Don't let your local spellcaster try telling you otherwise. Why spend decades reading ancient books to learn new spells? Just beat your enemies with your own bare hands, bruh. I do dislike it when they heavily lean into the monster's strength that it reaches the point of them just being an actual monster instead of a physical specimen. The original 1974 film had Leatherface look like this. It was huge and possessed insane strength, but not strength that could tear a person's forearm. A James Gandolfini type of power. Less Robert Strong from Game of Thrones. The main cast of this film was pretty annoying. From kicking an old lady off her home, to calling some random guy they meet small dick for open carrying, and people acting in impulses. Also, I am not aware of the director's political affiliations or whatever, but I just found the entire bit with the guy telling Leatherface he will be cancelled if he tries anything so bad that I couldn't help but laugh.
Try anything and you're canceled, bro.
I don't know if the director is some unironic anti-woke mob guy,
You think that people aren't going to just sell their homes and move?
but that one scene did just get me to chuckle. Also, what is with this cliche of characters not telling each other what is going on? The bank representative sees Dante's face cut apart and returns to the bus so clearly distraught and scared. She is asked by Lila what is going on, and all she replies is, "Just sit down and trust me."
Stay in your seat, please.
What's happening?
Just trust me. Stay in your...
Like, what the hell? Why does this always happen when a character is so obviously in distress and is asked what is going on by concerned characters, instead of just telling them what is happening? But do they expect the characters to react to not having their questions answered? Obviously, they will try to search for answers on their own, instead of being left in the dark and properly informed. This bank representative should be liable for manslaughter, the way she could have maybe prevented her from leaving the bus by simply stating the situation. Obviously, Lila wouldn't think there's a murderer on the loose. She probably thinks her friends got into an accident or something much less severe and would like to be there for her friends. But no, she wants to gatekeep for some reason. What the fuck? Why does this always happen? Why is it that in every movie where there is a dangerous situation going on, the person in the know refuses to divulge information that could help keep the characters alive and aware of their surroundings? The exact same thing happens in the 1977 movie The Hills Have Eyes. One of the characters find their dogs completely gutted and torn apart. Instead of informing his family who's stranded in the middle of nowhere that their dog got killed, he withholds the information. Like, why? I mean, obviously he wouldn't assume there are cannibals in the area, but telling them would at least mean there are wild animals around that have the ability to kill fully grown dogs. It would not really change anything. The family would just be more wary of their situation. But no, for some reason the kid just doesn't inform his family at all. It doesn't really have any real bearings or inflict real change. I just find it stupid when people act like this in movies. I find it unrealistic. Of course, let's not get too pedantic here. Characters being oblivious or stupid in horror movies is a trope. A lot of these classic style slasher movies aren't really trying to be as realistic as possible. They're just trying to set up a scary movie that would span an hour and a half. So not really serious criticism for either The Hills Have Eyes or Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Just funny things to observe. You can only really use these rubrics for films that take themselves seriously. Not really a movie that is just meant to be enjoyed in a quick sitting. Basically, let us not get too Reddit about it. I found it so funny that Lila was shown as a school shooter survivor. Like, what? It was so random, I had no real bearing on the movie. Small stuff like that helped me enjoy the utter tomfoolery this movie presented, and I can't help but actually like it. You know, one thing I always said about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies is that Leatherface needs more targets, and this movie delivers. It was just an hour and a half of well done violence. Hey, I'm a Doom fan. Fictional bloodshed is always pretty fun to watch. The ending bit straight up killed me. It was so well done and I really didn't expect it. I was barely laughing because how absurd it was. Especially after the decapitation, Leatherface just started emoting on her. What a stupid movie. I like it. The 2022 adaptation is such a betrayal of the original motif of what Chainsaw Massacre was supposed to be, losing all meaning and context. It was so removed from the authentic meaning that you could replace Leatherface with just a generic serial killer, and he has no real effect on this movie. But hey, if movies are gonna flaunt the depth of consequential storytelling, might as well keep it fun, right?